I have another letter written by a social worker here from Ontario, and it talks about, well, it acknowledges on first blush, this is written in the 70s, that some of the children can go home from residential schools, and I'm sure they'll be okay with their families. But there's some kids who are really concerned about, so we should do risk assessments on those families. He doesn't call it risk assessments back then, but that's basically what it meant. That all sounds kosher until you realize that that letter is written by a social worker working at St. Anne's Residential School. That's the one with the electric chair, where they electrified the children for amusement and for discipline. Why is it that we don't look at the harms that we're perpetrating? You know, that's one of the problems with our profession, is that we don't have a Hippocratic oath. And many of the social workers engaged in residential schools, and there were thousands of them, often believed they were doing the right thing. But it's not enough to believe you're doing the right thing. In fact, it can be dangerous if you rely on that. By 1967, over 80% of the kids are placed in residential schools under the not properly cared for provision by social workers. But this guy, George Caldwell, does a study for Indian Affairs back in 1967, calling on the need to provide culturally based services in the families versus putting these kids in residential schools. So we're starting to see a pattern unfold here, where the government of Canada knows about the harms for First Nations kids, it has the remedies to fix it, and it chooses not to fix it, time and time again. This isn't a problem without solutions.